Chloe used to be a genius hacker. A year ago, she was transported into the world of a trashy, melodramatic romance novel and became the 5-year-old daughter of the main character, Alara. As she walked down the alley toward her house, she saw a luxury car parked in front of their shabby door. She tilted her little head, a faint smile on her face. Finally, this part of the story. She'd been playing the part of an innocent little kid for a year now. This must be the part of the plot where they're taken in by the Kwan family. Before she even stepped inside, she heard voices. Alara, I'm really your birth mother. The DNA test is right here. It's all my fault. You were only 5 years old, and I didn't watch you closely enough. And you were kidnapped. Please, give your mother a chance to make it up to you. Come home with me to the Kwan family, to a better life. Your father, your brother, and your sister. They all miss you so much. In the original novel, the heroine, Alara, was born into poverty. To pay her gravely ill mother's medical bills, she entered the treacherous world of entertainment. Aiden Song, the industry's top mogul and the male lead, discovered that Alara looked just like his first love. He offered to pay a huge sum for her mother's treatment, but only if Alara agreed to be his contract lover. To save her mother, Alara signed the contract. In the brief time they spent together, she fell for the dangerous man. But their happiness was short-lived. Aiden's first love returned, and Alara's mother passed away from her illness. Devastated, the gentle-natured Alara decided to leave Aiden. She disappeared, running away while pregnant to give birth to her daughter, Chloe. Thinking of this, the coldness on Chloe's face melted away, replaced by the innocent look of a child as she toddled into the house. Mommy, I'm home. My tummy's hungry. I want a snack. God, it's so embarrassing for an adult soul to have to act this cute. Mommy, who's this old lady? Alara quickly pulled Chloe to her side. Chloe, this is your grandma, she said softly. Be a good girl and say hello. Chloe obliged in a tiny voice. Hi, Grandma. Mrs. Kwan struggled to maintain her wealthy socialite demeanor. Alara, this child is… Her name is Chloe. She's my daughter. She's 5, Alara said, clearly wanting to avoid the details of Chloe's birth. A painful memory for her. A look of pity crossed Mrs. Kwan's face. Oh, you poor thing. You must have suffered so much all these years. Tomorrow I'll send a car to bring you home to the Kwan family. No one will ever bully you again. She looked at Alara and Chloe with the perfect expression of a loving mother, bringing tears to Alara's eyes. Mrs. Kwan patted Alara's hand affectionately. All right, dear. I'll go make the arrangements. Pack your things tonight. I have to go now. Take care. Alara nodded gently, her eyes full of longing as she walked her birth mother to the car. The moment the car door closed, the loving smile on Mrs. Kwan's face vanished. Mommy, are we really going to Grandma's house? She seems kind of mean, Chloe said, trying to find a way to warn her mother that the Kwan family was a snake pit. Alara smiled. Chloe, she's my mother. I want to go back and be with her and my family. Chloe tried a different approach. Mommy, is Grandma's family really rich? Very rich. They're quite well known in Viridia, Alara said with a sigh. She never imagined that the Kwan family she sometimes saw on TV was her own. Chloe tilted her cute little head, feigning confusion. Mommy, if Grandma's family is so rich, why didn't they find us sooner? I'm already 5, and she's only just showing up now. Alara just stroked Chloe's head, a saintly, gentle glow in her eyes. Chloe, she's my mother. What mother would ever harm her own child? Chloe was speechless. A frustrated sigh caught in her chest. Mom, with that trusting personality of yours, you'd walk right into any trap someone sets. No wonder you get treated so horribly in the novel. In the original story, Mrs. Kwan pretended to want Alara back in the family, but she was really planning to marry her off to a greasy, middle-aged tycoon for business. The naive Alara fell for it, and was forced to marry the man, who was in his 40s. She was quickly tormented to death, and her young daughter, Chloe, starved to death. I can't let that tragedy happen. It looked like saving the tragic heroine was all up to her. And if she got the chance, Chloe also planned to find her jerk dad and teach him a lesson. Early the next morning, the car arrived to take the mother and daughter to Viridia. The driver spoke respectfully. Miss, feel free to get some rest. It will be several hours before we arrive in Viridia. Chloe asked with a sad little pout. Mr. Driver, do Grandma and the others really like me and Mommy? The driver paused for a second, remembering Mrs. Kwan's instructions, then nodded quickly. Of course, you're her daughter. She was so happy to find her long-lost child. The whole Kwan family is excited to welcome you back. Chloe pouted her lips. If Grandma likes Mommy and me so much, why didn't she send a plane to pick us up? I saw on TV that it only takes 2 hours to get to Viridia by plane. The driver was surprised a 5-year-old would ask such a question. Maybe the tickets were all sold out. Flights to Viridia are very popular. Oh, I see, Chloe said, glancing at her mother. I've dropped all the hints I can. Surely you have to realize something is wrong now, Mom? After a long journey, they finally arrived in Viridia. A servant led Alara and Chloe into the dining room. Alara! Mrs. Kwan exclaimed with delight, taking Alara's hand. She pretended not to see the 5-year-old baggage, Chloe. Chloe just shrugged, giving Mrs. Kwan space to play the loving mother. She toddled over to the Kwan family's eldest son, Ethan, raised her little arms and chirped, "Hi, Uncle, up!" Chloe remembered every detail from the novel. The Kwan family was full of bad people, and the only decent one was this uncle of hers, Ethan. Plus, he was going to become a billionaire CEO, super rich. She had to get on his good side. Ethan looked down at her big, watery eyes, so cute and endearing, reminding him of someone. A soft spot in his heart was touched, and he bent down to lift Chloe onto his lap. "What's your name?" Chloe blinked her big eyes and answered sweetly, "My name is Chloe. You can call me your first love." Her adorable, bright voice made Ethan smile. "You're only a few years old and you already know about first loves?" "I learned it from TV," Chloe said innocently. "A first love is the first person you like." "Uncle, do you have a first love?" Ethan paused, a smile flashing in his eyes. "What do you think?" Chloe giggled. "Of course I know you have a first love," she thought. "It's that famous gamer and streamer kid, but in the near future your parents are going to do everything they can to stop you from being with him." "Mom, Dad, is my sister Alara back?" The dining room door opened, and the third daughter of the Kwan family, Iris, walked in cheerfully. She had just turned 18, beautiful and graceful, with the air of a high society lady. "Alara, let me introduce you. This is your younger sister, Iris," Mrs. Kwan said, her face lighting up with a loving smile as she eagerly made the introduction. "It's so nice to meet you, sister. You're so pretty. I was worried you'd have had a hard time in the countryside," Iris said with a fake innocence. "Sister, why didn't my brother-in-law come today? I only see my little niece. Chloe's father passed away a long time ago," Alara said dismissively, not wanting to talk about him. She might be naive, but she could already feel the malice coming from her sister. Iris forced a gentle smile and changed the subject. "Mom, my niece is 5. She'll need to go to school here in Viridia. Have you picked out a kindergarten for her?" Chloe chewed on her food, thinking, here we go. The kindergarten plotline. To prevent the scandal of an unwed mother from tainting their reputation, the Kwans planned to separate Alara and her daughter. They pretended to be kind and found a prestigious kindergarten for Chloe. After sending Chloe there, Mrs. Kwan would arrange for Alara to meet with a Mr. Lee. The school wasn't prestigious at all. It was more like a prison. In just a few days, Chloe was starved until she was pale and thin. Mrs. Kwan then used this to blackmail Alara, saying Chloe could only leave the school if Alara agreed to marry Mr. Lee. Remembering the awful plot, Chloe sighed. "The kindergarten is the start of the tragedy. I have to stop it." "I've already chosen one. It's called Royal Kindergarten," Mrs. Kwan said with a smile, taking Alara's hand. "Alara, Chloe is 5 now. We can't neglect her education." Iris chimed in. "That's right, sister. Chloe's still young. She should make some friends. Other kids her age are already learning English. We can't have her still playing in the mud, can we?" "Alara, listen to your mother," Mrs. Kwan said, putting on her best caring mother act. "I've owed you for 19 years. All I want to do now is make it up to you." Alara looked moved. Chloe was smart, but she did need to spend more time with other children instead of always being cooped up inside playing computer games. Chloe pouted, her cute, chubby face scrunching up. "Uncle, I don't want to go to kindergarten. I want to play with you." A seed of doubt was planted in Ethan's mind. He knew his parents were business-minded people who valued profit above all else. His mother, Mrs. Kwan, especially looked down on women she considered immoral. His sister had been missing for 19 years, and he'd never once heard his mother mention looking for her. But now, she was acting all warm and caring. It was too strange. He usually stayed out of family matters, but this time, it seemed he needed to investigate. Iris took Chloe to see the room they had prepared for her. Chloe played her part perfectly, letting out a little wow and flopping onto the bed, hugging a teddy like she'd never seen anything so amazing. Such a pretty teddy. Inside, she was cringing. "Teddy? Are you kidding me? I'm not actually 5. A new sports car, a credit card with no limit, a top-of-the-line computer. That was more her style." Iris scoffed internally. This little brat from the countryside is so easy to fool. A few teddies and she's mesmerized. Little does she know her good days are numbered. "Chloe, do you know who your father is?" Chloe's big dark eyes darted around before she lowered her voice conspiratorially. "Auntie, I'll tell you a secret, but you can't tell anyone else, okay? My mommy said my daddy is a deep-sea diver." Iris was surprised. The kid's father actually had a real job? She'd assumed he was some gangster or a bum from a bar. "Good girl, Chloe. Tell Auntie, where does your daddy live now?" Chloe answered with a very serious expression. "My daddy lives in the sea." Mommy said he's the best deep-sea diver in the world. Other divers go down for a little while and come back up, but my daddy has been diving in the sea for 5 years and still hasn't come up yet. A muscle in Iris's face twitched as she fought the urge to curse. What a ridiculous lie. It was obviously something Alara made up to shut the kid up. That cunning woman had no intention of revealing the father's identity. She didn't want to spend another second with the little brat and made an excuse to leave. Alone in the pink-themed room, Chloe's childish expression vanished. She lazily typed on a keyboard and quickly found information on Royal Kindergarten. It was a little-known private school in Viridia with a rundown campus, irresponsible teachers, and terrible conditions. She hopped off the chair, opened her little backpack, and took out a thin, modified laptop. A message from B popped up. Boss, I found the info on Aiden's song. He really is a top entertainment mogul. A lot of his info is classified. I've compiled it all and sent it to your email. Check it when you can. She typed back a quick, good job. But B had more questions. Boss, what have you been up to lately? You haven't been online in ages. Chloe shot back a simple reply. Getting ready for kindergarten. B was incredulous. I'm not a kid, boss. Don't mess with me. With your top-tier computer skills and tough-as-nails personality, there's no way you haven't even started kindergarten yet. Chloe shrugged. She was telling the truth, but of course her subordinates wouldn't believe her. At 9 p.m., Alara told Chloe it was time for bed. Mommy, this computer is so much fun, Chloe said, sitting on a small chair, her little hands randomly tapping the keyboard. Alara bent down to carry her to bed, but Chloe clung to her neck reluctantly. As she did, her foot accidentally hit the keyboard, and the screen switched to a page about Royal Kindergarten. Alara carried her to the bed. You go to sleep first, Chloe. Mommy will turn off the computer. When she walked back to the desk, she saw the school's information page on the screen. It was the kindergarten Mrs. Kwan had mentioned. The more she read, the more her heart sank, and her mother's words from that afternoon echoed in her mind. The teaching quality at this school is excellent. The Kwan family even has investments in it. The tuition is over $500,000 a year. You want to see the school? No rush, no rush. We'll go after I've introduced you to all our relatives. Don't worry, Chloe is my granddaughter. What kind of grandmother wouldn't dote on her own grandchild? It was like a bucket of ice water had been dumped over her head, instantly clearing her thoughts. Suddenly, Chloe mumbled, Mommy, you grown-ups love playing on the computer? Auntie Iris was playing on this one this afternoon, and she asked me who my daddy was. Alara's expression changed instantly. Iris used this computer? That explains the browsing history. And she asked Chloe who her father was? She gently asked Chloe, what else did Auntie Iris say? Tell Mommy. Chloe cheered silently. Mom, your brain is finally working. Let me think. Auntie also called me a little bastard and said my being here would ruin the Kwan family's plans. Chloe tilted her head, her face a mask of innocence. Mommy, what's a bastard? Is it something you can eat? Chloe was an expert at adding fuel to the fire. A 5-year-old wouldn't lie, right? As expected, the gentleness on Alara's face slowly faded. Chloe, you go to sleep now. Mommy won't let anyone hurt you. Okay, Mommy, you should sleep early too, Chloe said, lifting her chin to give Alara a peck on the cheek. Meanwhile, Mrs. Kwan was on the phone with Mr. Lee. My eldest daughter, Alara, just came back to the country. I sent you her picture. What do you think? Mr. Lee roared with laughter. I like her very much. Mrs. Kwan, I want to marry your eldest daughter. Don't you worry, we'll be family soon, and I'll be sure to help you out in business. The Lee family's company was well known in Viridia. If they could form an alliance with them, the Kwan family's business would soar. The thought excited Mrs. Kwan. Then I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow. We'll be one big happy family. After hanging up, her eyes gleamed with excitement. Iris tilted her head, holding a teacup. That's more like it. Mr. Lee is old, ugly, fat, and a pervert. Since my sister is already a mother, she's a perfect match for him. With the marriage alliance almost secured, Mrs. Kwan was in a good mood. Iris, you're at the right age too. You should start thinking about marriage. I've been looking around lately, and the Chung family in Viridia seems like a good choice. Mom, I don't want to marry into the Chung family, Iris pouted. If I have to choose, I'll choose Aiden Song. He's an entertainment mogul with a $1 billion fortune, and most importantly, he's single and handsome. Mrs. Kwan nodded. She had heard of Mr. Song's reputation. He was indeed a very desirable marriage prospect. She would have to find a way for them to meet and get to know each other. The next morning, Mrs. Kwan instructed Alara, Today, I'll take Chloe to see the kindergarten. You can go with your father to the company and get to know our family business. Alara sat at the dining table, distracted. Mom, I'll go with Chloe to the kindergarten today. Mrs. Kwan cut her off. Don't you go. Taking Chloe to kindergarten is a small matter. Familiarizing yourself with the company is what's important. Go take a look, and in a while, I'll give you a portion of the Kwan family's shares. Mom, I happen to be free today. The door opened and Ethan, dressed in sharp casual clothes, walked in. I can go with Chloe to the kindergarten. He had felt uneasy all night, sensing that something wasn't right. Mrs. Kwan's eyes darted around. She definitely couldn't let Ethan go and see the kindergarten. Just then, a loud crash came from upstairs, followed by Chloe's wailing. Alara's face went pale and she shot up the stairs without thinking. In the pink princess room, shattered glass littered the floor, and the thick smell of blood filled the air. Poor little Chloe was on the ground, red beads of blood welling up from her white foot as she cried her heart out. Standing next to her was a stunned Iris. Seeing this, Alara almost fainted, her heart leaping into her throat. "Chloe, don't be scared. Mommy's taking you to the doctor." "What happened?" Ethan followed them up and saw the blood on the floor. His gaze turned icy as he questioned his sister. Iris looked helpless. She had just gone to wake Chloe up, but the little girl wouldn't get up, insisting on a hug first. But then a sudden sharp pain shot through her arm, and she instinctively let go. At the same time, the vase on the bedside table suddenly fell and shattered. Faced with her brother's questioning, Iris was afraid of being misunderstood. "I don't know, the vase just fell," Chloe sobbed. "Uncle, it's not Auntie's fault. I was just clumsy." Alara lowered her head. "It was probably just an accident. It's my fault for not watching her properly." Ethan's heart sank. "There could be glass in her foot. I'll drive you to a nearby hospital." Alara's fingers trembled, her face ashen. "Thank you, big brother." After they left, Mrs. Kwan said disapprovingly, "Iris, even if you can't stand that little bastard, there will be plenty of chances to deal with her later. Alara doesn't fully trust us yet. A stunt like this will not only make her suspicious but also upset your brother and your father." This time, Iris felt truly wronged. She stomped her foot in frustration. "Mom, I didn't do it. It was really an accident this time. I wouldn't go after a little kid." Mrs. Kwan sighed. "All right, I'll have someone clean up the room. When your sister gets back, you need to apologize to her. And make sure it's sincere." "Fine," Iris agreed reluctantly. Meanwhile, Ethan drove them to the hospital. Chloe's foot really hurt. To make her sweet but naive mother see the Kwan family's true colors, she had gone to great lengths. Ethan suddenly asked, "Chloe, tell your uncle, did you really hurt yourself by accident?" Chloe sobbed, "I was just clumsy. It has nothing to do with Auntie." Inside, she was thinking, "Come on, uncle, ask a few more questions. I can keep this up." Ethan gripped the steering wheel, his voice low. "Chloe, tell me the truth. Don't be afraid. Uncle will stand up for you." In the original novel, the sweet Alara was framed by Iris time and time again because Iris was a master at playing the victim. She always managed to fool Alara, who would end up taking the fall for her. Now that Chloe was here, she wouldn't let that happen. "I can't say, like, if I tell Mommy won't like me anymore, at Mommy I'm not a bastard. I don't want to be separated from you. I don't want a new daddy. Auntie said I was dirty and she pushed me on the floor." Alara froze, feeling as if all the blood in her body had turned to ice. Chloe cried until her throat was sore. Her acting was incredible. She had never cried in her past life, but today she'd shed a lifetime's worth of tears. Bastard, tramp, new daddy? Those 3 words were enough to paint a clear picture. The Kwan family's welcome was not what it seemed. They looked down on Alara and Chloe and were only putting on an act for some ulterior motive. Alara was trembling with anger. "Big brother, are you in on this with them?" Ethan turned the wheel, guiding the deep blue luxury car into the hospital parking lot. "I won't hurt you." Inside the hospital, a doctor quickly examined Chloe. "You parents need to be more careful. A beautiful child like this. If the glass had hurt her eyes or scarred her face, it would have ruined her for life." Alara choked back a sob and thanked him. Then, she brought up the kindergarten with her brother. "Mrs. Kwan said Royal is the best kindergarten in Viridia, but the information I found says it's the worst. If Chloe hadn't gotten hurt today, she would have been sent there. Your family obviously looks down on me, so why did you bring me back?" And to think she had believed she finally had family she could rely on? Ethan found it hard to believe his family would target a sweet 5-year-old child. "Don't go back to the Kwan house for now. I have plenty of empty rooms in my apartment. You and Chloe can stay there." Alara's eyes dimmed. Okay. She decided that once Chloe's foot was better, she would take her back to their small town. It was peaceful there, free from the scheming of the big city. Suddenly, her phone rang. The caller ID read, "Mrs. Kwan." Ethan was decisive. "Don't burn bridges with my mother yet. The Kwan family has influence in Viridia. If you make enemies of them, it won't be easy for you and Chloe to get away safely." Alara nodded and answered the phone. On the other end, Mrs. Kwan's anxious voice came through. "Alara, how's Chloe? It's all my fault for being careless. I've already had the servants clean the room and lay down carpets everywhere. I promise Chloe won't get hurt again." Such a gentle, caring mother. Except now, Alara wasn't so easily fooled. "Chloe has a few glass shards in her foot. The doctor said she can't walk for a while, so I'm planning to let her stay in the hospital today. That's fine. You take good care of her. Don't overwork yourself, Mrs. Kwan said lovingly. Oh, and one more thing. Our relatives heard you were back and are all so excited. I'll take you to meet them tomorrow. Ilara cut the call short with a single sentence. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I need to take care of Chloe now. Mrs. Kwan's smile faded. She had a nagging feeling that Ilara was catching on. She had to arrange the meeting with Mr. Lee as soon as possible. The next morning, Ethan brought them to his apartment. Ilara, you and Chloe can stay on the second floor. I've already had the rooms prepared. You can stay as long as you like. Chloe noticed another room on the second floor with its door slightly ajar. Inside, it was filled with Ultraman figures. She blinked her big eyes and asked curiously, Uncle, is that Ultraman in that room? Do you like Ultraman? Ethan saw the open door and walked over to close it. That's a friend's room. He stays over sometimes. Chloe propped her chin on her hand and said slyly, A friend? Oh, I get it. It must be my auntie, right? Ilara smiled. Chloe, don't talk nonsense. Ethan coughed lightly, neither confirming nor denying it. Of course, Chloe knew. This room was for Kid. But in the novel, after the Kwan family found out about their secret relationship, they interfered and caused Kid's death. And so, Chloe stayed home to recover while Ethan was busy with work. After making lunch, Ilara secretly went to the so-called royal kindergarten to see it for herself. But on her way back, a car blocked her path, and Mrs. Kwan got out. Ilara, I was just on my way to find you. What a coincidence to run into you here. Do you remember your second uncle? He doted on you the most when you were little. When he heard you were back, he was so emotional he cried, saying the ancestors were watching over our family. Your second uncle and the others are all here tonight. Come with me to see them. Ilara didn't want to talk to Mrs. Kwan. I need to go to the hospital to get medicine for Chloe. Her foot still hasn't healed. Mrs. Kwan maintained her kind expression. It's all my fault she got hurt. Ilara, please don't blame me. I just want to make it up to you. You're my own flesh and blood. Are you really going to doubt your own mother? Ilara hesitated, and Mrs. Kwan managed to half persuade, half drag her into the car. Chloe was enjoying some rare alone time, curled up in her room playing on the computer. Time flew by, and when the sunlight streaming through the window turned golden, she realized it was already dusk. Ilara went to the suburbs to check out that kindergarten. She should have been home by now. She stood still for a second, her expression changing. She quickly grabbed her phone and called Ilara. The number you have dialed has been turned off. Chloe smacked her forehead in frustration. According to the original plot, Ilara was probably about to be sold off by the Kwan family to that greasy Mr. Lee. She quickly called Ethan. Uncle, Mommy's missing! She said she was going to check out the kindergarten this afternoon, but she's still not back. Uncle, I miss my mommy. Tears welled up in her eyes, though inwardly she was fuming. If I weren't a 5-year-old, I'd be rescuing her with a tank by now. Why did I have to be reborn as a little kid who can't do anything but cry and act cute? Don't worry, Ethan's voice was calm. I'm on my way. Chloe nodded obediently. According to the original story, Mrs. Kwan would burst into the room with a group of people, pretending to catch Ilara and Mr. Lee in a compromising position. Ilara's reputation would be ruined, and under pressure from all sides, she would be forced to marry him. A dozen minutes later, Ethan's men located Mrs. Kwan at the Empire Hotel. Ethan looked at Chloe gently. Uncle is going to find your mom. You be a good girl and wait in the car. Don't go anywhere, understand? Chloe blinked and nodded sweetly. Worried, Ethan locked the car and hurried into the hotel with his assistant. What is my mother doing bringing Ilara to a hotel? As soon as they were gone, there was a soft click. The locked car door opened. Chloe got out, limping slightly, and muttered to herself, Uncle, you should never lock a kid in a car. It's not safe. She limped to the nearest luxury elevator and stood on her tiptoes, trying to press the button for the 30th floor. She remembered from the novel that Mrs. Kwan had caught a disheveled Ilara with Mr. Lee on the 30th floor, but she was too short. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't reach it. Little girl, are you here by yourself? Just as Chloe was getting frustrated, 2 men in suits walked into the elevator. One of them, who looked like an assistant, noticed the adorable little girl and asked kindly. Chloe looked up. I'm going to the 30th floor to find my mommy, but I can't reach the button. Here, let me help you, the assistant said, pressing the button for her. Just as Chloe was about to thank him, she caught a glimpse of the man standing beside him who hadn't said a word. Chloe's mouth formed a perfect O. This man, who radiated a don't touch me vibe, was none other than Aiden Song from The Files, the clueless male lead from the novel, her jerk dad. She pouted inwardly, stepped forward, and tugged on Aiden's sleeve. Tall mister, have you seen my mommy? The assistant quickly pulled Chloe's hand away. Little one, our CEO is a bit of a germaphobe. Please don't pull on his clothes. Chloe rolled her eyes. The heroine is sweet but naive, and the male lead is completely clueless. In the novel, Aiden had nearly drowned as a child and was saved by someone. He always believed his savior was the villainous Serafina Cheng, and he doted on her, even hurting Alara for her sake. But in a cruel twist of fate, the one who had actually saved him was Alara. Ding. The elevator arrived at the 20th floor, and Aiden and his assistant got out. Chloe perked up her ears and heard Aiden say, "Have a new suit sent up." Chloe ground her teeth. "Just you wait, jerk dad. I'll deal with you when I have time." The elevator continued up, soon reaching the 30th floor. Chloe limped out, unsure if her uncle had found Alara yet. As she walked, she heard rapid footsteps behind her. Her heart leaped. "Is that Uncle?" Before she could turn around, a tall shadow fell over her. The man stopped short and looked down at her. "Kid, where's your mother?" The voice was clear and pleasant, but it wasn't her uncle's. "I'm looking for my mommy, but I can't find her." Chloe blinked, and tears instantly welled up in her eyes. The young man's face grew darker. "Damn it," he muttered, though it was unclear who he was cursing. Just then, the hotel manager rushed over. "Young master, we found it. Mrs. Kwan booked room 3019. She's meeting with Mr. Lee from the Lee family today to discuss business." The moment he spoke, Chloe knew who the handsome young man was. He had to be the Chung family's only official heir, Kai Cheng. The novel didn't say much about him, only that he was caught in his family's power struggles and died young at the hands of one of his father's illegitimate sons. Kai rushed toward room 3019. "Watch this kid! Don't let her wander off!" The manager wiped sweat from his forehead. "Don't worry, young master." Chloe stood there, stunned. It seemed like this young master wanted to save Alara. But what was the connection between Kai and Alara? They were complete strangers. She didn't remember this part from the novel. Was it a hidden plot point? Kai couldn't believe how clueless Alara was. She had actually gotten into Mrs. Kwan's car and been brought here to meet Mr. Lee. Did having a kid make her lose her mind? He burst into the room and heard whimpering from the large bed. Alara, still partially conscious, was struggling and begging, but the man on top of her just laughed mockingly. Kai's eyes widened, a nameless rage burning inside him. He crossed the room in 3 strides, yanked the portly man off the bed, and kicked him away. He quickly covered Alara with a blanket, his voice unusually gentle. "It's okay. You're safe." Nothing happened. Mr. Lee, who had been drinking, started cursing. "Who the hell dares to ruin my fun?" Kai's voice dropped. "You pathetic excuse for a man." Mr. Lee froze, swallowing his curses. This was the young master of the Chung family, someone he couldn't afford to offend. He tried to explain. "Young Master Chung, this is my fiancé. It's all a misunderstanding. Mommy, I finally found you." Chloe limped into the room. Seeing that her mother's clothes were mostly intact, she breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, nothing serious happened. She held out her arms, looking pitiful. "Mommy, I'm hungry." The sweet, childish voice was like a ray of sunshine, chasing away the darkness in Alara's world. Her child was her hope. Alara quickly wiped her tears. "It's okay, Chloe. Mommy will take you to get something to eat soon." She couldn't believe Mrs. Kwan had used family ties to trick her into the car and drug her. "Why is Mommy crying?" Chloe used her little hands to clumsily wipe away the tears. "Is Mommy hungry too? I'll share my snack with you later, so don't cry, Mommy." Mr. Lee's eyes widened in disbelief. "You have a child?" Mrs. Kwan had told him her eldest daughter was pure and innocent, raised abroad, and knew nothing of the world. Alara ignored Mr. Lee and, holding Chloe, turned to Kai. "Thank you. I'll find a way to repay you." Kai raised an eyebrow, finding her tone unfamiliar. "You don't remember me?" Before he could finish, a commotion of footsteps sounded from outside. Mrs. Kwan's angry voice rang out. "Alara is just a gold digger who deliberately seduced Mr. Lee. She came from the countryside, so of course she'd try to climb the social ladder when she sees a rich man. How could I stop her? Look, Mr. Lee and Alara are still on their date." The rest of her words died in her throat. She was shocked to see that little brat Chloe here. And the young master of the Chung family? Why was he here too? Ethan felt a huge weight lift from his shoulders. "Alara, you're okay. You scared me." Chloe chirped. "Uncle, you're so slow. I found Mommy before you did. I'm awesome, right?" Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Chloe, didn't I tell you to wait in the car?" Chloe just giggled. Kai suddenly ordered the manager. "Call the police. There's been an attempted assault here. We have witnesses and evidence." The manager nodded quickly. "Yes, young master, right away." Mr. Lee shouted his innocence. "It was Mrs. Kwan who told me she wanted to marry her eldest daughter to me. She's my fiancé. Is that a crime?" Chloe suddenly piped up. "Mommy, are you engaged to this ugly mister? I don't like him. He looks like a piece of fat, and I don't like fat." Mr. Lee's face contorted with rage. "You little brat, who are you calling fat?" "Mommy isn't going to find you a new daddy," Alara said, stroking Chloe's face gently. "Chloe, Be a good girl and go home and wait for mommy. Okay, mommy, come home soon, Chloe said obediently, letting Ethan carry her out. With the 5-year-old gone, the atmosphere in the room grew tense again. Kai resumed his role as the heir of a major corporation. I was inspecting the hotel's infrastructure today when I passed this room and heard a cry for help. I opened the door and discovered this crime in progress. He turned to Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, you can explain yourself to the police. As for Miss Alara, I suggest she get a blood test. She may have ingested something. Alara nodded slightly. I'll cooperate. I was forced. Forced? You were willing! Mrs. Kwan shrieked, still trying to maintain her dignified facade. Alara, you were the one who told me you wanted to marry a rich man. Don't call the police, this is a family matter. She couldn't let the Kwan family's reputation be ruined. Alara's eyes were red, but her voice was calmer than ever. Mom, do you really see me as your daughter? Was the water you gave me in the car really safe? Why did I feel dizzy and weak after drinking it? You said you were taking me to meet relatives, but you brought me to a strange man's bed. You only brought me back to use me, didn't you? Mr. Lee quickly added, This isn't my fault. Mrs. Kwan said her eldest daughter liked my type. I was set up. When I got to this room, she was already lying on the bed. An older man in the group tried to mediate. Young Master Cheng, let's not be hasty with the police. This is all a misunderstanding. Kai said nothing. The old Kwan family elder smiled benevolently. Alara, you are a Kwan. We share the same honor and shame. If this gets out, it will be bad for both the Kwan and Lee families. Why don't we just resolve this quietly? Alara shot back. If you care so much about the family's interests, why don't you marry your own granddaughter to Mr. Lee? The old man's face soured. Mr. Lee was over 40 and ugly. He would never marry his precious granddaughter to such a man. Alara, on the other hand, had a child out of wedlock. A woman who had given birth was worthless, so marrying Mr. Lee was no great loss. Kai looked at Alara, trying to see a hint of someone else in her face, but found nothing. Maybe her acting was just that good. Alara was too gentle, not clever or cunning, possessing only a stubbornness that could be called a virtue. Did I get the wrong person? Kai wondered. But the IP address I tracked led straight to Alara's house. In this world, only one person has such incredible hacking skills. Alara crossed her arms. Call the police. Thank you for your help, young Master Chung. A small smile played on Kai's lips. Mrs. Kwan stared at Alara in disbelief, the last shred of her loving mother persona finally torn away. You are a Kwan. You have Kwan blood in your veins. Can't you be a little more forgiving and let this go for the sake of both families? Alara didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. They say a mother and child share a special bond, that a mother will always love her child. But with Mrs. Kwan, all she saw was coldness, self-interest, and vanity. This woman didn't deserve to be her mother. Kai made the call. No one dared to stop him. Alara and Ethan didn't return until late that night. Chloe was already asleep. The Kwan and Lee families had pulled some strings behind the scenes. Mr. Lee was charged with attempted assault, which would get him a month in jail at most. Alara hung her head. It's fine. I don't have power or influence. I can't fight them. At least now I see the Kwan family for who they are. Chloe's foot is almost healed. I'm going to take her back to our town. It's too dangerous here. I don't want her to get hurt. Ethan shook his head. Alara, your house in town. The Kwan family already sold it. What? That's my house. How could they be so cruel? Alara was stunned, her hands clenching into fists. They had gone too far. Ethan took a sip of tea. Alara, you and Chloe should stay with me for now. I'll have people protect you. Once things quiet down, I'll help you find a way to leave. Alara asked softly, Brother, why is your relationship with the family so strained? It was something she had been wondering. Ethan was the eldest son, yet he had consistently sided with her. Ethan raised an eyebrow. They're dirty. I don't like it. My father only cares about profit. My mother has a lover on the side, and my sister Iris is a schemer who loves to play the victim. A bright smile spread across Chloe's face. They sold my house? And the guy only got a month in jail? I'm not going to let you get away with this. Meanwhile, the Kwan family was in chaos. We never should have brought her back. Mrs. Kwan glanced at her hypocritical husband, her still beautiful face filled with disdain. I was the one who suggested bringing Alara back, but you didn't object. Now that the plan has failed, you're blaming me? Besides, the Lee family was never the best choice for an alliance. We could try for the Song family. Iris is interested in Aiden's Song after all. Mr. Kwan's interest was piqued. Mr. Song? How is that possible? Just then, the butler rushed in. Madam, sir, bad news. The internet is suddenly flooded with scandals about the Lee group. It's being reported that Mr. Lee has been arrested for 18 crimes, including bribery, embezzlement, and abuse of power. The couple stared in shock. The Kwan and Lee families had extensive business dealings. If something happened to the Lee family, the Kwan family's business would undoubtedly suffer. Mrs. Kwan was furious. Then why haven't you contacted our people to get these negative stories taken down? The butler wrung his hands, looking helpless. There's too much information. It's impossible to delete it all. Find out who leaked this, Mrs. Kwan fumed. Mr. Kwan's eyes glinted coldly. It's no use finding the source now. The fact that the TV stations are reporting it means someone powerful is involved. Mrs. Kwan, call a board meeting immediately. We need to cut our ties with the Lee family and distance ourselves completely. Mrs. Kwan found it strange. Mr. Lee had just crossed Alara, and now the Lee family was being hit with a massive scandal. Was someone defending Alara? Impossible. Alara had no background or influence aside from Ethan. It had to be a coincidence. Mr. Lee was probably just too arrogant and made other enemies who decided to strike now. At the Cheng family estate in Viridia, the scent of coffee filled the air. Kai stood with his arms crossed, his handsome eyes narrowed in thought. The high-end computer in front of him was working furiously, trying to trace an IP address. That special informant had appeared again. Shortly after, the internet was flooded with internal documents from the Lee family. After dumping the massive amount of information, the informant vanished. Kai had tried to track them immediately, but could only briefly pinpoint the area where the IP had appeared. The last time the IP address he tracked was in a small, peaceful town, the same town where Alara lived. Was it her again? Kai couldn't figure it out. An image of Alara appeared in his mind. A slender, gentle, fragile woman. No matter how he looked at her, he couldn't see the cunning shadow of the other person. Was her acting just that good? That person wasn't just a top hacker. They were also a master of disguise. Before he was transmigrated, he had tracked them for years, always believing they were a man. It was only after a fateful night that Kai was shocked to discover she had been cross-dressing the entire time. He looked down, lost in thought, and took a sip of his cold coffee. Just then, his assistant spoke up. Young master, it seems Kale Cheng is making moves again. He might be targeting you. Kai's eyes narrowed. Find some people and teach him a lesson he won't forget. The assistant's face lit up. Ever since the kidnapping years ago, the young master had become a completely different person, decisive and ruthless, putting all the disobedient members of the clan in their place. He was amazing. I didn't think there'd be a firewall this good in this world. I almost got caught, Chloe said in the small apartment, rubbing her nose. She stretched and closed her laptop. With the Lee family taken down, the Kwan family probably wouldn't dare to try anything for a while. Alara would have some peace and quiet. But a few days later, Chloe was sent to an ordinary kindergarten. I need a very cute student to answer, what is 3 plus 2? The student who answers correctly will get a little red flower, the teacher, Ms. Lee, announced. The kids in the class erupted, waving their hands in the air, hoping to be picked. Ms. Lee smiled at the lively children, her eyes landing on Chloe. She was the new girl, fair-skinned and adorable, but a little quiet. Let's ask our cutest Chloe to answer the question, what is 3 plus 2? Chloe kept a straight face. I want to grow up so badly. You can do it, Chloe. You'll get it! Her desk mate, a chubby 5-year-old boy, whispered, pumping his fist in encouragement. Are you platoon or 5? Chloe answered. Ms. Lee's face lit up with an exaggerated expression. That's correct. Chloe is so smart. A little red flower for Chloe. Everyone, let's clap for her. Wow, Chloe, you're so smart, the chubby boy said, his face full of admiration. Every day at kindergarten was torture. Finally, the weekend arrived. Chloe slept in until 10 a.m. Alara had left a note by her bed saying she had an emergency meeting at work and that a babysitter would come to make lunch, reminding Chloe not to wander off. Only little kids wander off. Chloe hopped out of bed and was about to go downstairs when she heard a noise from one of the rooms. She toddled over, pushed open the slightly ajar door, and asked curiously, "Who's in there?" "Is that my auntie?" The tall gaming chair swiveled around, and the noodles in the young man's mouth fell back into the instant ramen cup. He had curly, light brown hair and looked to be about 17 or 18. He put down the cup and rushed over. Ethan wasn't lying. His niece really is adorable, like a little kitten. If I'd known you were this cute, I would have skipped the streamer convention and come to see you sooner. The young man was clearly a chatterbox, words spilling out of him the moment he saw Chloe. Chloe rubbed her ears. This guy is so loud. I'm hungry. I want a steamed bun, Chloe said, rubbing her tummy and looking up at him. Hey, little one, I've got some bread here, want some? Leo Lin was clearly taken aback by the auntie comment. Also, I'm not your auntie. I'm your uncle's friend. Besides, aunties are girls, and I'm a boy. You should call me Big Brother Leo, got it? Chloe's cheeks puffed out, her big dark eyes darting around. Big Brother Leo, do you like my uncle? Leo sat back down in his chair. Of course, Ethan's my best friend. I definitely like my best friend. Chloe asked. If you like my uncle, why can't you be my auntie? My teacher at kindergarten said that if two people like each other, they can get married. Leo nearly choked. What is this kid thinking? That's friendship, pure friendship, understand? He said after a moment, trying to sound serious. Chloe, there are different kinds of like. My feelings for your uncle are friendship, not love. And don't you dare say this to him. I'm a straight guy. What if he gets the wrong idea? In the original novel, Ethan was a tragic character. He kept his feelings for Leo hidden, never expressing them. Leo suddenly picked Chloe up. Chloe, want to play a game? Chloe's eyes lit up. Yeah, Leo grinned. I'll teach you. Chloe rested her hands on the desk, watching Leo play. This is how you teleport back to base. This is where you buy items. Got it, Chloe? Chloe nodded. Got it. I want to play a round. Leo didn't believe her. All right, but don't let your uncle find out. I'll set you up with a bot match first, something easy. Just then, the door creaked open and Ethan's cool voice drifted in. What are you two doing? Leo slammed the laptop shut and both of them turned around. Leo immediately rushed over to him. Nothing. Ethan, you're finally back. I have a streamer awards show next Saturday. Will you come shopping with me for a new outfit? Chloe, you should come too. I don't feel right leaving you home alone. Chloe shook her head. No, I'm not going. I'd just be a third wheel. All right then, Ethan said. Be good at home and listen to the babysitter. Chloe watched the two of them from the balcony. Suddenly, a camera flash glinted from the bushes below. Chloe narrowed her eyes. Someone was taking pictures of Ethan and Leo. It seemed the Kwan family was about to find out about Ethan's feelings. They were old-fashioned and would never allow him to have feelings for another man. They would definitely try to stop it. In the original novel, a female singer tearfully claimed that Leo had harassed her at the awards show and even leaked their chat logs. In the chats, Leo's wholesome image was shattered by lewd and disgusting messages. With a hidden hand pushing the narrative, Leo became a public enemy overnight. He tried to defend himself, saying his phone had been stolen and he hadn't sent the messages, but no one believed him. The streaming company he was signed with quickly terminated his contract, stating they would not work with a streamer of questionable character. The final blow came when a former fan brutally broke Leo's arm. He could no longer play video games, a devastating blow for any gamer. Coincidentally, Ethan had been deliberately sent abroad on a business trip and couldn't get back in time to help. The public backlash, his broken arm, and the bleak future finally crushed Leo. In the end, he took his own life. The streamer awards show, Chloe mused, her bright eyes thoughtful. Her uncle and kid had just left to buy clothes for the show. Time was short. Since Big Brother Leo is a good guy, I'll help you out this time. I can't let my uncle lose his future husband. I'm counting on inheriting his fortune after all. Swoosh. Mrs. Kwan threw a handful of photos onto the table. See for yourself. The reason Ethan hasn't been coming home these past few years is because of this Leo Lin. No wonder he never likes any of the beautiful girls we set him up with. He's been bewitched by some pretty boy. Mr. Kwan's face darkened. Whether this is true or not, Ethan doesn't need people like this around him. The Kwan family line cannot end with him. A week later at the airport, Alara said gently, Chloe, Mommy, and Uncle are going abroad for a few days on business. You need to listen to your big brother Leo and not wander off, okay? Chloe nodded. I know, Mommy. Come back soon and don't forget to eat on time. Alara was doing well now. She was starting to shine at Ethan's company, slowly becoming a strong, independent woman, no longer the pitiful heroine from the novel. Ethan looked at Leo, small smile on his lips. If you run into any trouble, call my assistant. Leo puffed out his chest. Don't worry, I'm not a kid. I can definitely take care of your niece. I'm worried you can't take care of yourself, Ethan thought. For some reason, he had a bad feeling about this business trip. Chloe blinked. Don't worry, Uncle, I'll take good care of Big Brother Leo. Ethan smiled faintly, gave a few more instructions, and then left as their flight was about to board. Chloe stood on her tiptoes, waving at Alara. Soon, Mommy, she called out, thinking, I'm off to save Leo. Don't worry, I won't let the tragedy from the novel happen, I promise. Let's go, time for dinner, Leo said, shaking off a strange feeling and returning to his cheerful self. I have the Streamer Awards show tomorrow. Want to come with me? Chloe smiled. Of course. Not only am I going, but I'm also going to take down a few people while I'm at it. Soon, they arrived at the awards show. Chloe peered out the car window. The entrance was swarmed with fans, most of them there for kid, Leo Lin. Look at all the light-up signs. The fans are so energetic. I wonder if we'll see Leo tonight. He didn't even stream today. I hope I see Ethan. I love it when he plays games with Leo. They're so cute together. Chloe could hear the fans chatter even through the car window. But how long will this love last? Once the scandal broke tonight, these same fans would become the very ones to crush Leo. The car drove through a special entrance. The event was more like a gala, with champagne towers, sparkling glasses, delicious food, and celebrities and influencers chatting and laughing. It was a scene of dazzling luxury. Leo crouched down. I have to do an interview in a bit. You wait here at the table and be good, okay? Chloe nodded obediently. Kid, long time no see, and you brought a cute little kid with you, a soft, alluring voice said. Chloe recognized her immediately. This was her target for the night, the popular streamer Bella Bai. In the novel, she was the one who framed Leo, gaining a massive following by playing the victim. She had used his tragedy to become a top influencer and later married into a wealthy family. Oh? Who's this little one? Bella asked with a bright smile. Leo grinned, a little proud. This is my friend's niece, Chloe. I'm looking after her for a while. Cute, right? Trying to seem friendly, Bella crouched down, a wide smile on her face. She's adorable. Chloe, do you go to kindergarten? Chloe nodded and said in a tiny voice, Yes, I go to kindergarten. That's so great, Chloe, Bella said, still smiling. Chloe tilted her head. What's so great about going to kindergarten? You mean you never went to kindergarten, miss? Bella's smile twitched. Leo chuckled and tried to smooth things over. She's just a kid, don't mind her. Leo's assistant, Finn, rushed over. Leo, the interview is about to start. And after that, you have a meeting with young Master Chung. The Chung family is hosting this event, after all. Just as Leo was about to hand his phone to Finn, Chloe spoke up. Big brother Leo, I want to play a game. Can I hold on to your phone for you? A strange look flashed in Finn's eyes. The kid might lose the phone, he said quickly. It's fine. Let her play, Leo said, figuring it would keep Chloe from getting bored. He handed her the phone. You stay right here. Don't wander off, understand? Chloe nodded. I know. Finn glanced over at Bella, who gave a subtle nod. Chloe saw the exchange and smirked. Do they think I'm blind? Leo's assistant, Finn, had been bought by the Kwan family long ago. Tonight, she and Bella were planning to steal Leo's phone and send those harassing messages. Bella sat down next to Chloe, about to speak, when Chloe, who had been focused on her game, suddenly hopped off her chair and toddled over to a man standing nearby. Tall mister, it's you again. The tall man was Aiden Song, Chloe's jerk dad. This was an important event hosted by the Chung family. And as an entertainment mogul who managed countless celebrities and influencers, Aiden had been specially invited. Chloe had a mischievous streak. Whenever she saw her cool, germaphobe dad, she couldn't resist teasing him. She clung tightly to his leg, refusing to let go. Tall mister, I found my mommy last time. Some bad guys were mean to her, but they went to jail. The assistant beside him sighed. It's this kid again. I'm so sorry. This is the little girl Mr. Lin brought. I'm watching her for him, Bella said, rushing over with beads of sweat on her forehead. It's crowded here. Be careful with the child, the assistant said before hurrying after his boss. Bella pretended to be concerned, trying to figure out how to get the phone from the little girl. Just as she was racking her brain, Chloe spoke up. Miss, I have to go to the potty. Can you hold my phone for me? Bella's eyes lit up. She's just handing it over. Of course, sweetie. I'll hold it for you. I'll wait for you right here. Okay, thank you, miss, Chloe said with an innocent smile, then gathered her pink princess dress and scurried off. By now, Leo should have finished his interview and be resting in the break room. In the novel, his stomach condition had flared up, and he had passed out from the pain, left alone all night. By the time he woke up the next morning, Bella had already posted the evidence of his harassment online. Don't worry, big brother Leo, I'll go get help, Chloe said, her big eyes twinkling. She grinned. Just wait, I'll clear your name.